We're going to do a quick tutorial on how to pull probates and how to correctly do it. And there may be additional videos to this or new videos that I'm going to make, but we're going to start with this just to see what kind of problems that we're running into and see how this goes as far as teaching you exactly what you're going to need in order to pull the correct probate files and then how to put them on your spreadsheet. So let's go ahead and start off. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to log into this web address right here. That I will have on a file for you in Dropbox on your instruction PDF sheet you're going to have. But you're going to log into circuitclerk.nashville.gov/caselink, and then from there you're going to go ahead and click this. You're going to use the login information and then go ahead and log in. What you're going to see. Okay, so I went ahead and cleared off the last file so we can start from scratch. This is going to come up at first. And what you're going to see is an area here where you're going to enter for the probate files, and it's the same as evictions if you've already done those. But 13, the first number is going to be the year that we're in, so it would be 2013. So it's going to be 13P for probate, and then you're going to enter 1452. You would actually go to probate case inquiry. That's how this form would pop up, and then from there, the reason that I'm starting at 1452, or the reason you're going to pick a certain number, is because you're going to actually go to the lead tracking sheet from a Google Docs spreadsheet that we share with you, and then you're going to click on the probate tab along the bottom, and you're going to see from there the last number that you entered whenever you did it last. So for this it would be 1462, but we're going to actually go forward, so we're going to use this other number here. So for this case, let's just say the last number that you ended on was 1453 or 1451, I mean. So then you would be at 1452 next, because that's the one you left off on. And then from there, the first thing that I'm looking at with a probate is to see that it says petition probate will along one of the first few columns. That way I know that it is a probate and someone has filed a petition to go ahead and start the probate process. Another thing you're going to want to look for is to see that PDF is in this right here. Sometimes it may have this but no file yet, and if that's the case, it's just too new, so you're going to need to come back the next day, make sure it has PDF, so that way you can pull it up. So the next thing you're going to want to do, one of the few things anyways, you can go ahead and go to realtrax.com, log in, then go to CRS tax system, and that's going to pull up your property search to where that way we are going to see if the person who was deceased and passed away, if they had a property, because if they had a property, then we're going to know that we need to send them a letter to see if they're thinking about selling it. So let's go ahead and click on view here beside PDF. Once you do that, you're going to see this petition of probate will come up, and you can kind of read through this. I mean, you're going to get used to where the information is, but for now you're probably going to have to read it a little bit. You're going to see petitioner. This person right here, James W. Smith, is nominated as executor of the last will for the deceased. So this is the person who's actually going to be handling all of the paperwork and matters over the person who passed away. So this is the person we're going to want to send a letter to, because they're the ones who have control over this person's belongings from this point forward. Another thing you're going to see that I'll look for is petitioner resides at. Whenever it says petitioner resides at this address, that means that's going to be the address that we're going to send a letter to. We can go a little bit more into that. The first thing we want to do, though, is find out if this person who passed even had a piece of property. Because if they didn't have real estate, we don't want to send a letter to them, because we're not trying to purchase any of their belongings outside of their house. So we don't care if they have cars or anything else. We're not looking to purchase that. We're just looking to purchase their house. You can see here, though, the decedent. This is the person who died. Mary Smith died. And you can see where she died at her home, 2916 Clay Mill. This information is very important. What we're actually going to do is we are going to go to our CRS tax records, and the address is going to be, first off, I'll make sure Davidson County is always selected, because that's where this case link is going to be for, is Davidson County. Make sure all city names are selected, and then from there on street number and name, if it does have a street number and name, which this one does, it actually tells where they passed away at. A lot of times that's going to be their home. That even says that it's at her home. So you know clearly that this person that passed away did have a property. But I go ahead and double check, so I type in 3916 Clay for the first part of the address name. Click search, click on their name, and you can see here right along the top that this person owned a piece of property. So you can see that for now we're going to send letters to all of these. So if it has property in 37207 or 37208, you know what? Actually, we're not going to do that. We're not going to, if some of these say 37207 or 37208 or 37218 for the zip code, we're not going to mail to them. So you can just go ahead and pass that by for now anyways. And I'll put that on the, I'll go ahead and put that on the spreadsheet. So you can see on the spreadsheet right here that if you ever wonder, is that zip code one of the zip codes that we don't want to put on here? You can look at this, property address. Don't put if address zip code is 37207, 37208, or 37218. Now you can see on these here, we haven't even put the addresses. The reason that we haven't is because this information is actually going to go into a letter. Alright, so you can see in the letter here where it says the property address, again we're going back to no zip code, and you can see here that what we do is we actually use a mail merge that's going to use these names right here, all of that information, and it's going to put it on the letter at the appropriate part. So you can see dear name, so that's why the name has to be correct here. You know, whenever you're looking up the deceased name, that needs to be the deceased name. And you want to make sure that you don't even have to put their middle name in there, which you could do that. I would say to actually do the full name. But as far as for the executor, you can just do first and last name on that. And with this, you can see property address. It says, often I buy real estate and other personal property found in estates. It is my understanding that the property located at, and then property address is going to be here. See, we don't need the zip code right here because that's just too lengthy. All that we really need is just that address. They know its street number and name. They know which property that we're talking about already. And then that helps out. So that's the reason why you don't put the zip code. But if it has 37207, 37208, or 37218, just go ahead and leave those out and go to your next probate file. So then you would just simply go to your next file. With this one still, we would use that. So we can see that this address right here, 2916 Clay Mill, and we can see the person that passed, Mary Kelton Smith, is actually the person who owns this property, Mary Kelton Smith. That's her address. But we know it's 37207, so we would go next on this one. So now let's go ahead and right click and go to next case. And you can see it's another case number here, 13P1453. And you see here it says petition letters administration. That's not even going to be a probate. They do other types of filing underneath this. And you're going to see on the letter, the instruction guide that I have here, that you're going to skip to the next case number whenever you see that it is belonging, that this right here says trust position, petition for guardianship, or petition letters administration. There may be other things, but I haven't came across them yet. But what we want it to say every time is actually petition probate will. So when it says this, we know that it is a probate, and then we can go ahead and click to open that up. So let's go ahead and do that again. Okay, so you'll see this now that we've opened the file. The deceased person's name is Linda K. Williams. The petitioner, the executor who's actually ordering this, getting the probate process started, is Harry Williams. I bet that's her husband. And for now, we're going to mail a letter to this person. In the future, we may not mail to anyone who has a husband or wife who's inheriting the property after the person's passed, because a lot of times they just won't even sell. For now, let's go ahead and we'll still include it. So what I would do is I would first go Linda K. Williams. I would know that that's the person who passed, and it says she died this date, a resident of this county. It says she was not married. So this one right here, we would know that although that's him, that may not be the husband. So, well, it's not the husband because she's not married. But see, it says that the decedent was domiciled at 706 Desmond Drive. So what we're going to do is we're going to look up this on tax records. We want to make sure that it belongs to the person that passed. So 706 Desmond. And then click search. And you can see here that it says Linda K. Williams and the Harry person, again, Harry Williams. And when you go back to the file, you can see that that's Linda K. Williams. So this is a good one up to this point. And we're going to go ahead and start entering information on this. Let me make sure that the zip 37211, that is a good zip code, so we can use this one. So then we're going to go to the spreadsheet, and you're going to enter the information here. You're going to see the date that it was filed, and the case number, and the source, which is always going to be probates whenever you're working probates. You're going to find the date that it was filed right here. You're going to see the case number right there so that you can enter that on your spreadsheet. And then from there, you're going to always want to make sure the executor is not the person that's deceased, but that's the person filing. So you can get that from your PDF file. And you can see I changed this executor or petitioner. If it says either one of those words, you can see Harry Williams is the petitioner. So he's the executor, the one filing this. So then you would put his name right here, Harry Williams, and then his address, which will be on this somewhere. So it says that right there. It doesn't have his address. So then we just scroll down, and Harry Williams, I think that's who this is. Let's see. Sometimes all the way at the bottom is where you would see that, but it's not. So what we're going to do is Harry, let me make sure at the top, Harry E. Williams Jr. Yeah, let's see. So Harry E. Williams Jr. That's the address that you're going to enter right here. That's the street, the city, and you do want to put the zip code on this. The deceased name is up at the top here, Linda K. Williams. And then her address is going to be property address. For now, we're only going to do one heir name and address, which means when you see here beneficiary and heir, we are going to see beneficiary. So we look for that main person, the executor. Right below is going to be the stepson. We're going to put their name, their address, their name, and their mailing address. Include the zip code on this one. We're only going to do one heir at this point. We have spots for heir 2 or 3 or heir 2, but we're only going to do one for this point. That means we send them a letter